to the presenters, I'd like to briefly emphasize how pleased I am with the work of this community group. Originally scheduled to meet 6 times, the group discussions were so substantive that they elected to add an additional 4 meetings, often meeting for over 4 hours at a time. I'm especially appreciative of the tremendous and numerous Fairfax County Police Department officers who committed their time and lent their professional expertise to answer the committee's technical questions, but more importantly, to dialogue with the committee members about their lived experience and their input on the University of Texas findings and recommendations, which brings me to the committee members themselves. While I'm incredibly grateful to each of the committee members for their service, I'm especially proud that we were able to recruit citizens to participate in this effort, specifically from communities that the University of Texas report designated as the most affected areas in our county. Notably, many of those committee members are individuals who have never previously participated in a board, authority, commission, or community group. The insights, perspectives, and voices of the community members that we might not hear from as often, or who may have never even thought to participate in such an opportunity, is so critical, and doubly so for this particular topic. I want to stress here is the time and distance, as the chief said, is so important. But when I think about de-escalation, the word that comes to me is patience. Patience is what you have to have in order not to overreact and do something quickly. So I appreciate that in this training, we're going to be focused on patience, time, distance, cover, all of the things that are going to help us, help our police department do a better job of making decisions when they're in these tough situations. And I think the board will recall at our last board meeting, I brought up an instance in Lee District where I just felt compelled to share it because that's what was done. I mean, you could see the use of de-escalation tactics, and you can see the outcome was exactly what we wanted. Start by saying the difference a year makes. So last year was very different than this year. So I'm delighted that we have some flexibility within the budget to provide the compensation both on the county side and on the school side, because it's so important. I'll say this too, as a former economic development person, one of the things that we would tout, and this was the #1 thing that we touted, is our public school system. It is what sold this county and has continued to sell this county to so many corporations who make the decision to locate here. I'll also say we need some flexibility also to make some adjustments, and those adjustments are going to definitely be necessary on both the real estate side and particularly on the personal property tax side. A couple concerns I have with the schools, which I continue to have, what's happening with behavioral health in the schools, and not asking for any response here, but this is an issue that I'm very kind of connected to and have had conversations. My wife also works in the schools, so I know how important that issue is. Second, the graduation rate for our Latinx males, Hispanic males, continues to be troublesome and concerning, and I just want to identify that that's an issue that I'm very concerned about as well. I like the idea on the prioritizing the crosswalks and making sure we're looking to address areas that have had previous conflicts with, say, pedestrians and cars and bicycles and cars, thinking about how to address where we know there's a specific problem. So again, appreciate the work that's been done here, and I'm excited about the opportunity to see some projects in my district. I think to the chairman's point, making sure we can cover all of the areas of the county is going to be really important. I think this is an opportunity for us to look for new innovations that can be used to help us improve pedestrian, bicycle, and other safety features. With regard to crosswalks, and one of the things that I tend to still kind of struggle with is when we have the opportunity to use the four-way crosswalks. I think that provides an additional level of safety. So if we can, maybe have that as a goal possibly. I know that we won't be able to do it in every single instance, but for me, I just feel more comfortable with having that striping in all four quadrants because it really gives more visibility, and I think it actually increases safety. So I appreciate this point that you've raised with regard to food, and this is an area that I got really engaged in my own district and realized how imperative it was for us to try to make sure that people had food distributions in our community. What I want to say is I want to make sure, though, that we're also including some of the private sector entities, because there were two very significant ones who supported the efforts in Lee District, and the one is DeLune Corp, and the second is Produce Source. We want to make sure we're talking to those partners because they were engaged in helping us do the work to provide for the food that came into those distributions. They may have some thoughts in terms of processing and storage and just how we even run the distributions in the future as well.